What's up, Cellar Dwellers? This is Overlord Dan, bringing you another installment in the Movie Cellar's Month of Horrors. And tonight, I want to talk about a movie I just watched, which is the 1998 teen alien invasion infestation horror film, The Faculty. And I've got to say, this movie was way cooler than I remembered it being. Just right off the bat, it was made by Robert Rodriguez, which I had totally forgotten until I was looking into it before watching. And when you're watching it, you can kind of get an idea that, a little bit of a flavor of his style. It's not super gritty like a lot of his stuff, but you definitely get a little bit of the flair in there of his energy, which is cool. And it has a couple of pretty well named actors in it. Josh Hartnett plays a pretty major role in it. Elijah Wood is the hero of the film. And essentially, it's just like Breakfast Club if there was an alien invasion of the school in Breakfast Club, is really what it boils down to. You got a grouping of all these different stereotypes put together. You have a jock who's like disillusioned, with he's not doing what he wants, he's doing what people want him to do. You got the one kid who doesn't care about anything and he's too cool for everything. Like the dude with the duster in the Breakfast Club, right? That's Josh Hartnett's role in the movie. And then you got the one girl who's like a loser. She's wearing a chain necklace and dark clothes. And then you get the one preppy girl. And then you got the loser kid who gets, beat up and roughed up by everyone. And that's the role that Elijah Wood plays. And what's cool about this movie is it's one of those stories where the person who at the beginning of the movie is really timid and afraid throughout the film finds strength in himself to ultimately become the hero of the film. And that's what Elijah Wood does. And there's other movies that do it way, way better. But he does that in this movie. And it's a pretty fun movie. And I remembered it being really, really cheesy. But I thought on a rewatch, probably 20 years later after I first saw it, that it was actually a lot better than I remembered. And the movie kept me, really in the story. And I was, on the edge of my seat and excited about it and excited about what would happen next. So that was a pleasant surprise. I also liked that it kind of had some of that meta humor like they get in Scream with like, oh, hasn't this alien invasion thing been done to death? And then like throughout the movie, they're trying to figure out the deal with the aliens. And there's one girl who knows all about that from like books and movies, and she's telling them. And so they're literally going through all the tropes of alien invasion movies and they're putting it into the plot and they're aware of it because they're existing tropes. So that's kind of funny. Um so I'm going to go through the categories, and each category I'm going to either give a thumbs up, thumbs down, or mediocre, thumb to the side. And then at the end, I'll give an overall score. So for creativity, I'm going to give it a thumb to the side. Nothing excessively creative about it. Um, Alien invasion movies have been made a million times. It's a joke in the movie how many times it's been done. They even reference like Men in Black and Independence Day in the movie. And the whole meta humor, sort of spoof-ish nature of it is very much like Scream. So that wasn't new ground either. But putting that into this particular genre was kind of new. So it's not a thumbs down, but it didn't really break any new ground. So, mediocre. The gore, I give it a mediocre on the gore. A lot of the gore was like very CGI because it was like bugs crawling under the skin or stuff bursting out. One woman gets her head chopped off, but then like it grows tentacles and crawls back to her. The CGI sort of vibe of it didn't really work super well. Um, the music, definitely a thumbs up. That was what I remembered most about the movie from when I watched it as a teenager, and it's what stuck with me. And I was not disappointed when I watched it tonight. A lot of cool late '90s rock, not anything earth shattering, but definitely gives you some good nostalgic energy. Ambiance, a thumbs up. It gets a thumbs up in this category because like it's in a high school at night, and like any kind of environment where there's a ton of people during the day and everyone's gone at night is really creepy. And then on top of that, the school's like an older school building, so that's kind of creepy. And then like it's raining and there's a thunderstorm, and then there's like one scene in particular where they're trying to run from the football team who are all possessed by the aliens, and Elijah Wood's hiding in a bus, and that's really spooky. And then you hear the cleats of all the football players on the tar in the parking lot. That's really creepy. I thought that worked well. So definitely thumbs up on ambiance. um Jump scares, mediocre. There were some, but nothing too exciting. Lasting impact, that's a thumb sideways because the way I view lasting impact is, am I going to have a hard time going to sleep? Is it going to stick with me? Did it creep me out? And it didn't really creep me out. It was a lot of fun to watch, and I was invested in it while I was watching it, and I wanted the protagonist to succeed, but it wasn't anything that's like going to sit with me. I'm not going to be afraid to shut off the lights and lock the doors and go to bed. So, overall, I give this a thumbs up. I was very pleasantly surprised, like I already said. It was way better than I remembered it. And if you remember this movie being super cheesy, it might be worth giving it a rewatch if it's been a while, because it's actually a lot of fun. So that's it for tonight. Tune back in tomorrow for another episode of the Movie Sellers Month of Horror.